It's week number 2 of us working at home with both of our kids. So how are you all doing?
So we thought that we would share some lessons that we've learned, not just recently, but over the past several years of working at home from time to time with our kids. Because if you didn't know, back last fall/winter, Reeves was out of school for 2 whole months. And so I was juggling running our business full time, so working from home, and also being at home with Reeves full time. So we're going to be sharing some of those tips right now.
Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tasha with One Big Happy Life, and we help you find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want.
So if you're like us and you've been finding yourself at home having to do some work, we have some tips for you because we are very experienced in doing this. This is not our first rodeo. We do a lot of working from home anyway, but this is definitely the most condensed we've been doing it.
Yeah, it's always been our goal to have jobs where we could always work at home at least a few days a week. So we've basically always worked from home some amount. I think the last time we worked from home this much was when we fostered a pregnant dog and she had puppies. And so then one of us needed to be home every single day, but even still, Alexis went to school. So this is really new, this whole idea of working from home while also having to take care of a younger kid. Like if your kid is under 7, this video is for you because they are way more high maintenance, way more high touch than they are as they start to get older. Like Alexis, we really don't even have to see her at all because she's 18. She's not even a kid anymore. She's grown.
Yeah, so if this is definitely your first time and with kids, the first thing that you're going to want to do is open up the lines of communication with your supervisor, if you have one, and really lay out how exactly it's going to work, because this might be completely new to them too, and they might have a tendency to try to have too much communication or worry that you're even going to be working. And so what it is showing them how exactly this is going to work, and it's going to help them out if you can bring solutions to them, saying, okay, well, if I was in the office, this is how often I would check my email. Every week, I'll give you an update on status of my different projects and let you know the milestones that I'm working towards, and when I hit those, things like that is going to put them at ease and make it feel a lot more like how they would see you in the office and run into you and just ask you about this or that. They're already going to know because you're being proactive about that communication.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going to make it harder, that makes it harder on parents who suddenly find themselves working from home with no childcare, is this idea that absolutely nothing is going to change, right? So if there is this expectation at your job that suddenly you're at home, but you might as well be in the office because they'll never hear your kids. You'll never have to stop and take care of something. Like any of those things that are involved with actually taking care of children. So opening those lines of communication with your boss earlier, the earlier, the better, because then some of these other tips that we're going to suggest may actually be possible, like working outside of a traditional 9-to-5 schedule.
Yeah, as you're updating them with what schedule you're going to be working, we recommend that you wake up earlier than you normally would to try to get some time in where you can work before your children are awake. And so if you can get up at 6 and your kids happen to wake up at 8, that gives you 2 hours where you can get some really dedicated stuff, intense communication done, important projects without the risk of distractions.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why we've been singing the praises of wake up early for years, and the reason is because we have kids, and so then it's just so much easier to get stuff done when they're still sleeping. Of course, remember, in order to wake up early, you have to go to bed early, because what you don't want to do is burn the candle at both ends. So if you're waking up at 6, then plan that your bedtime is going to be 10 p.m.
Yeah, and I think right now, many supervisors are going to be very understanding with juggling childcare and maybe an odd work schedule to accommodate that, because when schools are just closed or childcare facilities are just closed, there's really no option that you have. So, this is the time for flexibility, and so don't be surprised that your odd work schedule is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We're cool with that.
Another thing that you will want to do is to plan a schedule for your kids in advance. Now, I've seen those schedules on the internet, and then I've seen those memes making fun of those schedules, but I'm going to tell you what, if you have a professional job where you have to get work done, it is far better to have a schedule both for you and your kids, so you don't have to sit there wondering, well, what am I going to do with this kid next? And your kid will get used to the new routine, because we don't know how long we're all going to be at home working and also trying to homeschool our kids. So it's better to spend a chunk of time figuring out, well, what am I going to teach them? When are they going to go outside to burn off energy? What are they going to eat? When are they going to eat? So then when the time comes, you're just checking the schedule, so you know everything that's going on. It's just such a time saver, and it reduces your stress, because at the end of the day, yes, we could just have our kids watch television all day. That's what I've seen like those memes say. And that will work for a while. But if you're in a position where schools are closed for the rest of the school year, and you have a kid that's like 4 or 5 that actually does need that daily reinforcement of like letter sounds and things like that, and can't go a whole 6 months without reinforcing the things that they've learned, or else they'll forget it, you're not going to want to just have them watch TV. So the sooner that you can get yourself in a position where you feel up to creating a schedule, the better it will be for both of you.
At the same time, a little bit of TV might save you in a pinch. And that's why you don't want to overuse it. So you can have a little bit as an emergency.
Yeah, we save the high value TV shows for when we have a meeting that we can't be disturbed, because they're, usually we can trade off, and we're going to be talking about that in just a bit. But sometimes we both have calls that are scheduled at the same time. And so in that case, I can't watch Reeves. Joseph can't watch Reeves. He's just got to watch television. And so we save that for those times, because then they're still special.
One key thing to add to that schedule that you're making for your children is time outside and active, or at least some active indoor time, to let them get their energy out, because kids are just bundles of energy. And you know that if you keep them cooped up, they are going to start going wild on their own. And so you want to contain the wildness, and then, target it at a specific set time. Some sports, some hiking, quick walk, running around, doing something, and have that be a daily thing that they expect, and then can wear them out so they're, more mellow the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that really helps, if you're able, is to stagger your schedules so that you're able to trade off on who is responsible for watching your child. So Joseph actually has a set work day, and so we can't trade off. We can only trade off at lunch, basically. Joseph will sit with Reeves at lunch, but otherwise we're lucky that we have a third adult in the house. So Alexis is available for, like, right now, she is sitting with Reeves so that we can shoot this video. I thought about like bringing Reeves here and like putting him in a chair and just kind of seeing, like, having all kinds of random cuts, because we'd be like, Reeves, wait, Reeves, sit back down. But we do try to trade off as much as possible. And so back in the fall, when Reeves didn't have a school, what would happen is that I would wake up early and work. Then I was with Reeves all day. And then as soon as Joseph came home, then I would work in the evenings. So it'd be 4 hours on work, 8 hours with Reeves, and then 4 hours at work. And so then that was my 16-hour day. And then I would go I would go to sleep. So unfortunately, that might be the position that some people find themselves in, and that's actually a lucky position to be in, because you also might be in a position where it's like, okay, well, you both have to work an 8-hour day, and so you can't really trade off, and that's tough.
Now, while you're doing all of this, one thing that you don't want to have to worry about is eating. and constantly having to prep food 3 times a day, you want to know ahead of time. So we cannot stress enough how important and helpful it is to get a meal plan, and also go ahead and try to get the cooking done on the weekend when you have hopefully a little bit more flexibility and time. And then you're just reheating things during the week, because it's a time saver. And if you're already crunched for time trying to juggle this new situation, the last thing that you need is just one more thing. Oh, I'm going to cook from scratch 3 times a day. That's a lot of work.
Another thing that we recommend is to take advantage of online learning opportunities. There are so many digital resources out there, both free and paid. And really, with kids, they get so bored, especially kids like at Reeves' age. He's a toddler. So having a wide variety of interactive and self-directed online learning opportunities for him, as well as some physical in-person things that he can do, just gives us that kind of variety that he needs. Because basically he'll do an activity for 15-20 minutes and then he's done. So that's a lot of different things that we need to have in place for him.
Just in general, a great productivity rule is taking adequate breaks. No one can be on their game 100% of the time for a solid 8 hours or even a solid 4 hours. It is best to have intense periods of work and then take a little break and then go back to it. So your mind's clear, you're a little rested. And when you do have your kids at home, if you are taking a break, it's great to take the break with them, because that 5 to 15 minutes of time with you every so often, if you're not the one that's on duty that period of time, gives the person who is watching them a little bit of a break of their own. And also you get to spend time with your kid, and then they're not going to feel like you're so off limits all day. It's, oh, well, this is the time that I'm hanging out with them. And so that makes a lot of sense.
I will say Reeves has never really realized the work that we did or the fact that we worked until now, where he'll be making comments like, okay, and at this time we're all done working and no one's gonna work. And, clearly he's saying that because he is hanging around us. Yes, he has activities to do and we'll give him the activity and then we'll turn around and work. But he is aware that we are sitting at our computers, we're working, we're not down on the floor with him to do a lot of these activities. We are sometimes. But just like Joseph was saying, having that set time where we are focused on him, building with him, going outside and walking with him, that's really important for us to build into the schedule too.
Now, sort of as a last resort of creating your schedule, and also if you have this flexibility, if you need to, try to see if you can put some work hours onto the weekend, maybe at those early morning times before your kids are up, so that it can take a little bit of stress off of your week. Now, if you find that that's not helpful and more stressful, working more days per week, that's understandable. But I think that for a lot of people, just shifting even a few hours where maybe one partner can have some flexibility during different times, that might help as a way to manage all the new things.
Yeah, because Joseph is completely off on Saturday and Sunday and some Fridays, and we are definitely taking advantage of that. And so then, yes, that means that I may work like 3 or 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday, but then that eases the pressure on the weekdays, so I can have a shorter workday on the weekdays and be more available to be with Reeves. So the last thing that I will say about this is, while this is technically temporary, I think it's also a great opportunity to rethink how we do work and how we balance work and life, and what's possible if we were to adopt more flexible workplace policies. Because think about it, if you could work in between your childcare hours, you could need fewer hours of childcare and still be able to get a lot of work done.
Yeah, and I mean, since we've been able to live that way for a long time, and a lot of people do, I think it's just shocking right now because everyone was forced into it very quickly. But clearly many jobs, I mean, I would venture to say most jobs can be done largely at home, if not completely from home. And so, if this is something that seems like, hey, I really do like this. Now, childcare aside, obviously that's going to be a little bit more stressful than normal. But if you really like it, then, think about implementing it at your work if you have that authority, or, looking for a job that will offer at least sometime this kind of flexibility.
Yeah, that's always one of the questions that I ask when when I used to interview for new jobs. I would say, what are the workplace flexibilities that are available? How often do employees work from home? And if the answer was never, I wasn't applying there anymore. Like, my application withdrawn, because I like to be able to work from home at least a few days a week. So hope, like Joseph said, stress of trying to manage your kids at the same time aside, this is a great opportunity to see how you feel about not having to commute and being able to work in comfy clothes all day.
All right, everyone, stay safe and have a very productive work week at home with your kids.
All right, bye.